Jaggardev, Jai Masters. There are so many levels that yoga or spirituality can be looked at. Start from the lowest. I'm not doing well. I'm depressed. I'm sad. I don't have any energy. I heard yoga can help. Yes, it can. Yoga is the science of energy. Everyone has energy. Everyone has energy inside. If they're not feeling it, it's because it's blocked. It's that simple. Just like the sun is always in the sky. It has been there for 4.5 billion years. It's out there shining. There's no day, there's no night, there's no winter, there's no fall, there's no summer. Why does it appear that way? Because of the angles and because of the clouds, because things are blocking, interfering with the light. But the light's always there. It's the same thing inside of everybody. Everybody, the most depressed person in the whole world, is completely filled with light and energy, but it's blocked. If something's blocked, it's blocked. If the clouds are covering the sun, you don't see it. It's dark. It's not bright. So, yoga is the science of releasing that energy, finding ways to release that energy. And what most of you think of as yoga, like Hatha yoga, releases blockages within the body, tensions, and so on, and that releases the flow of the energy. And the body feels better, and so on and so forth. And it can go deeper than that. You find out that your depressions aren't necessarily due to problems with your body and tension in your body. You have blockages in your mind. You have blockages in your heart. You know you do. And by working with pranayama, by working with mantra, by working with asanas, by working with meditation, by working with these different things, they help to release the blockages. And so that is, as terrible as it sounds, the lowest use of spirituality. Is I'm not okay, I want to be okay. What do I need to think? What do I need to feel? What do I need to do? What do I need to eat so that I feel better? There's nothing wrong with that. You are where you are. A person is where they are, and you have to work from where you are. It's absurd to try to ignore where you are and then philosophize about where you could be, right? So that is a beautiful use of yoga and spirituality. It is not the whole science of yoga. So where do you go from here? From there, you start to wake up and realize, I'm feeling blocked, I'm feeling scared, I'm feeling lonely, I'm feeling needy. Who am I? Your language tells you the truth. I am feeling this. There's an I, there's this act of feeling, and there's an object. Who's the subject? Who is this I who says, my mind is really bothering me lately. I can't do anything with it. I like the I who says, I can't meditate. I try and I can't meditate. My mind won't stop. And my body won't sit still. Believe it or not, the one who's saying that is what yoga is about. Not the fact that your body won't sit still, not the fact that your mind won't stop, not the fact that your heart hurts you. Believe it or not, someday you'll understand that is irrelevant. Those are objects. I am looking at a car. I'm not the car. The car can be broken, the car can be beautiful, the car can be old, the car can be new. It has nothing to do with me, does it? Your heart can hurt, your heart can feel wonderful. Your mind can be bothering you, your mind can be filled with joy. Same as looking at a car. There's a you in there, isn't there, who's noticing that the mind is bothering you. There's a you in there that's noticing that your heart burst open for not your husband. Shh, you're in trouble, you in there, all right? These are just objects of consciousness. You are the awareness, the one who sees the consciousness, and then there's an object of consciousness. There's a light. It shines on something. What it shines on has nothing to do with the light, does it? Ever, never. Shine the light on something for 1,000 years. Just shine right on it. Then move it. The light's the same. The light did not change one iota, did it? That is the same as your consciousness. Your consciousness is aware of what it's aware of. It has nothing to do with it. It has absolutely nothing to do with it. You have nothing to do with your thoughts. You have nothing to do with your emotions. You have nothing to do with your body. I don't like to do this because you don't like it. Hold your hand. Don't do it. Hold your hand up. You see your hand? It's gone. Do you see that it's gone? Is it the same you who saw it, who sees that it's not there? You did not change one iota. But there's pain. Well, there wasn't pain. Who's feeling the pain? The same you in there that didn't feel the pain a moment ago and that won't feel the pain later. You do not change. That's why they call it the light of consciousness. It is exactly like a light. A light has a source. It shines out. It emanates from that source, doesn't it? And then it falls on objects. It doesn't matter what object it falls on. I know it's hard to believe. What difference does it make? Move it, it's shining on another object. It does not affect the light in any way, shape, or form, does it? It is exactly the same with your consciousness. You are in there, you are aware. I mean, I know it doesn't feel like this. We'll talk about what to do about it in a moment. But let's at least get the different levels of awakening. So before I was working on the object of consciousness. I needed people to like me. I needed this to happen. I needed to change this. And you see that? Now I have woken up to the point of realizing, wait a minute, no matter what's going on out there, I'm the one who's experiencing it. That's called witness consciousness. Krishnamurti called it objective observation. That's a very major step in your spiritual awakening. Why? It's the truth. All right? It is the truth. It is not true that the light is affected by what it's shining on. Ever. Never. Block the light so it doesn't fall on it. The light's still the light. Take the blockage away. It's shining on it. Break the object. Start the object young and let it get old. It doesn't change the light one single iota. The light doesn't age. The light doesn't this, does it? Your consciousness is aware of the object of consciousness. Now, that's easy to talk about with a car. That's easy to talk about with a boat or something else. Yes, I know I'm not the boat. I'm aware of the boat. That is not easy to talk about with your emotions and your thoughts or your body, is it? How do I know? I don't want to get old. You don't get old. I don't want to look at something that got old. Okay, well, that's a different story. I don't like looking at it when his hair turns gray and he gets varicose veins and his face drops. So I'm going to devote my life to the object I'm looking at instead of devoting my life to the one who's looking. That is the difference between someone who's woken up and someone who's not. You're completely addicted to your body, to what it looks like, to how it feels, every single thing, because you're just looking too close. You're staring too hard, and you don't recognize the difference between subject and object, the difference between consciousness and object of consciousness. But over time, I want to make sure we go all the way up, then I'll come back down and do the work, all right? Over time, you're going to find out that you are going to get old. And you have two choices. Either accept, honor, respect, appreciate, enjoy, or resist. And if you resist, you will have a very, 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 very hard time getting old. And if you honor and respect and enjoy, wait a minute, you used to be this big. Are you glad that you're bigger now? It's the same process. It's the exact same thing happening. It's just called the process of aging, the process of growing, the process of change. All right? Why do you have trouble with it? Like I said, I want to make sure we go, I'll come back to that. Because that's the key, isn't it? You have to understand why it's the way it is if you're going to change it. If we just got to the point of witness consciousness, imagine you've reached that point where you realize, hey, I'm in here. Yes, the body goes through changes. Yes, the mind goes through changes. Your thoughts aren't the same as they were years ago or anything like that, right? Your heart is not the same. It's not moved by the same thing. You used to be in a relationship with different people. You used to like different things. Okay? It changes. You don't. You were in there noticing what was going on then. You see it as memory now, right? You can bring it back from memory, but you were in there. When you were 10 years old, you looked in the mirror. You did not see what you see now, did you? It was you looking. It's not like somebody else is in there. Don't you have that sense of, I'm in here? Have you been in there for a while? Were you in there yesterday? No, that's a good way to do it. Were you in there yesterday looking out through those eyes? Well, were you in there last year looking out through those eyes? When you were in there when you're 10 years old looking out through those eyes? Of course you were. Who else is in there? Nobody. Me. It's a single occupancy apartment, and I dwell in there. The problem is, if you stare and become fixated on something, you lose your sense of self. You project your sense of self onto the object you're staring at. Have you noticed? Don't sit in my car. That's my car. Here, the example I use sometimes. You're going to buy a new car. You go in the car dealership, you're looking around, everyone's looking at the cars, they're sitting in the cars, everything like that. You go, well, I want that one, right? You go there, and you go in the back room, and you sign this piece of paper. And you come out, get off of my car. What in the world is that? Okay? That is your consciousness identifying with an object of consciousness as I, me, mine. Tito's had a song, you know that. I, me, mine. Doesn't it do that? I, me, mine. And when you project your sense of being onto an object, including a thought, including an emotion, including a car, including a husband, including a wife, including a child, including anything that's not you. It's not you. You're in here looking. But we project our sense of being onto the object. All right. When you are not doing that as much, you will find that there is a center in there. Those are spiritual words we use. Your center, the center of your being. Sounds weird. No, it's not weird. It's you. It's you being you, noticing that there's a tendency to be pulled out of your center onto the object of consciousness. Has anyone noticed that? How strong is that tendency? It's pretty strong, isn't it? Okay? What did you say? You can't talk to me that way. It's a word. What if they said it in French or Spanish or Italian and you don't speak the language? Oh, that was pretty. All right? But we'll talk. Well, I'm coming back down. I want to go up first. Then I'll come back down as to why it's this way and what to do about it. But it is this way, isn't it? Okay? It's like you can maintain your center until something strong enough happens that the noise down there pulls you into it. And then you come back. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. Oh. But you did say it, didn't you? Why did you say it? Why did you say it if you didn't mean it? Have you, all right, now I'm going to treat you as adults, spiritual adults. Have you ever been in a situation that you knew was sensitive? You knew you had stuff going in this area with that person, but you wanted to stay centered, meditated an hour before, got yourself together, and vowed, I am not going to mention that. It's too sensitive. We're not ready. I want to have a nice interaction this time. And you walk in there, and your third word is that. Yes or no? Ever? Come on. All right? It just sucks you right in. Okay? And then you step out, and one or two things happen. I've been at this for a long time. One or two things happen when you step out. Okay? You start to go back to where you were before you went in there. Right? And either you go, oh, or I was right to say that. Isn't that fun? Isn't it fun being in there? Not so much, is it? Okay? All right. So now we're struggling, if you will, to maintain our center. What if you got to the point that you breathed, you did your thing, and you walked in there, and 16 times it came up in your mind, and you bit your lip. And in fact, you said the opposite. God, I really love when you talk to me that way. It's really good. No, seriously, it really helped me a great deal. Thank you so much. Whoa. You could do that, couldn't you? Right? So now you maintained a center. What happens then? That's different than asanas. That's different than reading the Bible or the Gita. All right? You did something inside yourself that made a real change. You maintained your center. And you get to a point where it's so nice maintaining your center, and I'm going to use a word I don't usually use. You don't take on karma. I don't want to get into karma. People talk about karma like a punishment, like something you did something wrong. It's not. It's basically you attract to yourself in accordance to your actions. That's how you learn. If you go in 5th grade and you miss things on a math test, guess which ones the teacher wants to talk to you about? The ones you got right? What's the purpose of that? Go get a tennis coach. Guess which stroke they want to work with you on? The one you're really good at? That's karma. How's that? It's a gift. It's not a punishment. You are being taught what you need to learn exactly because you attracted it to yourself based upon your actions. That is what needed to come back so that you could learn. Isn't that nicer? So basically, and there's no bad karma. There's just things you put out there that you need some good lessons. Good lessons, all right? You need some serious lessons in this area, all right? All right. So basically, that's what's going to happen if you act. What if you learn not to? What if you learn, that's crazy. It's just a moment in time passing by. You know how you get there? I can handle this. Say that with me. I can handle this. That's how you get there. Not, I can manipulate this so it doesn't bother me. Not, I can make sure this doesn't happen or this does happen. I can handle this. Why? Because I said so. Because it's something going on inside of me. And if it comes up and it's hard and it starts to pull me in, I've learned to not get pulled in. I've learned to relax. I've learned to let go. Like I said, I want to go up first, then we'll come back and do the work. All right? Because we're not up yet. Being centered is, you want to go the rest of the way? Might as well. All right? So now you're able to handle the unfolding of life as it passes through you. Why? Because you want to. But what if it's not just? No such thing. There's just life. But there was a hurricane. It's life. But she said, it's life. If she said it, there was a reason she said it. If you studied her whole past and what her mommy did and what Freud said and everything, you'd understand that's why she said what she said. It had nothing to do with you. It had to do with her. You get wise. You get deep. Every single thing that happens because of everything that made it happen. Every single thing. Down to the nano, all the way up to the galaxies. Every single thing that ever was, is because of all that caused it to be that way, including psychology, including everything. It has nothing to do with you. I mean, something, you're like 0.0000001 factor of what caused the person to be that way. All right? It's not you. It's the interaction of the whole. And you become wise, and you catch on. And you realize, I would like to stay seated in the seat of self. I would like to stay seated in the center. And yes, there is a human underneath me. Just like you ride a horse. There's a horse under you, isn't there? Like a wild stallion. All right? And basically, yes, I can work with it. I understand it has its nature. It has its nature. It gets upset. It feels in love. It does this. It does all kinds of things based upon its past. I see it. I understand it. But I'm not it. And I'm able to be comfortable sitting in here as life unfolds and the different stuff unfolds. Okay, now what? I'm telling you what's going to happen. When you spend just enough time sitting in that seat and not getting pulled in, what actually happens is the energy of the humanness, of all the noise, of all the junk, has room to come up to you instead of you going down to it. Normally you're pulled down to it. It's almost like, yes, the horse will go wild until you learn to ride it. Okay? And so now you're in here and the different changes take place. You don't suppress them. You don't ever suppress. Suppression just keeps the energy down there and screws it up. You sit there and look at the energy and say, come on up. Come on up. Come on up. Somebody wants to ask Ramakrishna, fully enlightened, great being, does an enlightened being ever feel anger? He said, yes. Shocked me. He said, but it's like riding on water. Whoop, gone. Show me riding on water. You can't. It leaves no impression, does it? It just passes right through. So there was a reason, for whatever reason, that this came up, and it came up and it passed right through. It actually feeds you. You can actually, and I don't want to say you can, because I don't want you doing it. I want you getting out of the way so it happens by itself. You can have a situation where somebody says something and you start to feel insulted, and you back up and let go, and you feel ecstasy. Just shoots up inside of you. It transmutes the energy from having to stay down there where it's caught pouncing off of everything in your subconscious and your conscious, right? And it has room, and that energy will always go up. Ma Yog Shakti, the saint that gave us the Durga statue, beautiful lady, she was sannyas. She didn't talk about her past. Very, very, very beautiful high lady, very, very high. But we were very close. She once turned to me, she said, "Mickey," I said, "Yes, mother." She says, "Don't you just love when they yell at you? There's so much energy." Wow, how would you like to be there? We understand that. So what happens is, when you're able to stay within the center, within the seat of consciousness, and not fight and not struggle, just, okay, here it comes, it's raining, it's windy, it's sunny, it's hot, she yelled at me, she didn't say hello when I said hello, okay? And you're able to feel the bump and relax, and the energy comes up. So what happens when you spend enough time, I've always noticed God will not give you 100%, maybe 70, 75, and next thing you're on to your next journey. Why waste for 100%? You did good, 65, good. All right? It turns out a C is good. And you will start to feel all this energy. When? Always. You just start to feel all this energy. Why? Because that's what's back there. Remember I said the sun is always shining? What you've done is manage to let go of the clouds. You manage to not hold on to the clouds. And all of a sudden, it's not that the sun came up to you. You are the sun. And you start feeling what yoga calls Shakti. You start feeling waves of love, of joy, of energy, of upliftment, of beauty going on inside of you for no reason. All the time. And you start noticing, well, there is a reason. I didn't stop it. I didn't go down to yell at you because you didn't wear what I wanted you to wear, or because you didn't do this or did do this. And you start voting for the higher part of your being. And eventually it will be beautiful enough in there to where you won't go down. That's all. And if you start to go down, you let go. People ask me, what does letting go mean? That's what letting go means. Letting go means, I don't need to go down there anymore. Ram Dass said it beautifully once. He said, I'm standing on a bridge watching the river flow by. Every once in a while, the spray from the rapids come up and touch me. And I look down there and say, I used to live in there. Do you hear me? That's true of every single one of you. You do not have to live in there. Like I said, we'll come back and tell you how not to. But basically, understand that. I don't care where you are, who you are. I don't care what ever happened to you. I don't care what you ever did. Doesn't make any difference. You are the sun that for 4.5 billion years has been shining unaltered, but you're busy staring at what you're shining on. That's how close you are to getting out of here. So now the joy, the love, the Shakti, you used to think you got it from out here, but you realize now you are it. That's who you are. That's your nature. Your nature is ecstasy. Your nature is joy. So that sounds high. No. We're not high yet. I figured let's have a nice talk for once in your life, right? That's nice. Okay. You don't want to get caught there. So what happens then is the pull downward is not strong enough to keep your attention. Yukteswar told Yogananda once, an ignored guest quickly leaves. That is the highest way to let go of yourself. Not fix it. I mean, we'll talk about it, but not fix it and do this and get the relationship right and all that kind of stuff. Now I'm okay. Tomorrow I'm not. I wasn't yesterday, but I am now. That's not good enough, is it? That is not good enough. I love you. That's not good enough. So now you have the joy, you're feeling this love, the pull downward is not strong enough for you to even ever consider going back down. So if something comes up, you just let it go. You ignore it. You just ignore it. Somebody can be talking to you. You don't have to listen. You don't have to push it away. I don't have to shut you up. Shut up. I don't like what you're saying. Right? Just, okay, talk. Go on. I'll go about my business. That's what it's like with your lower self. You raise it up. You raise it up. You welcome it up. And all of it comes up. What happens is the energy changes direction. And I'm just telling you the truth. You don't do this. It happens to you. Instead of the pull always being downward, and yet you manage to struggle and keep it up or let go or transmute it, all of a sudden you got far enough back, there starts to be this pull upward. You don't do it. In the end, it's happening to you, not by you. The energy starts to go up. Why? Because it's not being pulled down, and its natural state is up. And you start feeling this constant pull from behind. You didn't think it was there before, because you're always busy looking down, either looking down to go down or looking down to not go down, trying to stay up. Now, all of a sudden you realize, wait a minute, I'm sitting here looking down. It used to pull me down. I had trouble staying here. Now I can stay here, and I see the tendency, but I'm not being pulled down, right? And now I'm comfortable not being pulled down. I'm comfortable being here. And you realize, wait a minute, there's not just an in front of me, there's a behind me. Most people have no idea there's a behind where you sit. Why? Because you're being pulled down. You're being pulled down into the body, into the world, into your mind, into your emotions, right? It's always in front of you. When you are able to sit comfortably within and not have this struggle that's going on, you realize, of course there's a behind me. There's all directions everywhere, as always, throughout the universe, isn't there? Well, there's a behind your seat of consciousness. That's what I said. That's not all that high. It's high, but it's not all that high. Being able to maintain your seat of consciousness. Why? It's still a point in space and time. Your seat of consciousness. It's a place you're sitting, and you're looking in front of you, trying not to be pulled down. Eventually, you become comfortable enough there, and you realize, whoa, there's a behind me. There's a behind me. And you realize it's starting to pull you up. What do you mean? There's nothing to talk about. There's just a force, a vacuum cleaner, a pull upward instead of downward. Well, why don't I just go? Not a chance in the world. Not only were you too caught in the world and too caught in your mind and too caught in your thing, you're caught in being you. That is exactly what Christ meant when he said you must die to be reborn. That's a very deep statement. It's very deep what we're talking about now. It's like, I said, are you in there? Were you in there yesterday? Okay? Where are you? Who are you? Not just are you in there. And so what starts to happen, there starts to be this thing called exploration of self. Instead of exploration of life and this and that and the whole ball game, right? Or mind, or emotions, or heart, or anything. Chakras, okay? Who's in there and where did it come from? And it starts to invite you, pull you back up. It won't force you. You have to be willing to let go. And that becomes a different letting go. The letting go we talk about is letting go of your lower self. This is letting go of your sense of self, of your individuality. Now you're talking the deep, deep spiritual truths. And it starts to pull you up, and it's very beautiful. It's the most beautiful thing in the whole universe. And you start letting go, and the more you let go, a number of things happen. One, your relationship with all of this changes. Your relationship used to be, I'm not okay, make me be okay. I'm not okay, get away from me. I had a serious relationship with people and things and everything, right? And the relationship was, I'm not okay, and when you come into me, you better make me be okay, or I don't have anything to do with you. Isn't that my relationship with the whole world out there? Well, that's not a relationship anymore. Why? Because I am okay, all right? That's what I want for you. I am okay. I'm always okay. All right, that's not my I, by the way. That's a generic one. All right, I'm always okay. I'm always okay. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. The sun is shining all the time in here. So I have no trouble handling what goes on out there. Remember Zen? Flowers are red, water's blue, grass is green. Go home, grasshopper. In other words, it just is what it is. It's fine. I'm in here. And so your relationship with out there changes completely. I said I'd come back to this. We'll just do a little bit now, right? Changes completely. You do not have a relationship with the world. It's there. You're in here. But your relationship has changed completely. Your relationship is not about you being okay. And you must admit it is now, isn't it? What do I want to do? What do I want to become? What does everyone else I need to be? Who should I marry? What should I have? Should I have children? Shouldn't I have children? Should I go to Europe now? Or should I have a gap year? None of that. If you're okay, you don't have to try to be okay. If you're okay, you don't have to worry about not being okay. That's what it gave you. That's what your seat of center gave you, being okay. And so what happens is, this relationship with the world out there, in a sense, has nothing to do with you. The world is unfolding, you're fine, and it unfolds in front of you. Of course you're going to interact with it. The light does shine on the object. It doesn't not shine on the object when it realizes, oh, I'm the light, not the object. I still shine on the object, but I'm not busy making the object be the way I want to look like. And now you're into the Tao. Now you're into the really deep teachings, which is life is unfolding. You have nothing going. But that doesn't mean you don't interact with it. It calls on you to interact with it. Every single molecule and atom in creation has a reason for being. All the galaxies, everything, all balance each other, everything. And you're just one of those things. There's nothing personal. Nothing personal. If something unfolds in front of you, you serve it. That's what it becomes like. But you don't think you're serving. Anyone says, I serve. Well, you're not there. There is no I like that. There is no reason to serve. There's no reason to give. There's no reason to take. If there's no reason to take, giving happens. If you have tremendous abundance and somebody wants a parcel, a morsel of it, you don't feel like you gave anything. Everything is just happening by itself. It is all unfolding. That's where the great ones went. That's where they were. That's where a great one lives. You can't see it. We're still nowheres. Why? Because there's still this sense of individuality. This sense of separateness. If you're running around being a guru, if you're running around being a great being, running around helping everybody, you're still there. If you're competing at all with somebody, if you like seeing that you did well and people like you and you got a big following, you got a big church, and somebody talked to Yogananda. Yogananda was a very high being. He could have attracted anything he wanted. He said, don't talk to me about a mega church. I don't want a big following. Give me a handful of sincere devotees sitting under a tree. That's what I want. Okay? And you start seeing ego is still there and everything, spiritual ego, this and the other thing. Eventually, it looks absurd. All right? I teach you all the time, maybe it's just the way I look at it. At some point, you're sitting on a tiny planet. Please humor me once more. 1.3 billion Earths fit inside the sun. And you care what is happening at the tiny spot on that little planet where you're standing every moment. It's all that matters to you. That's hilarious. That's called ego. That's me focusing on me. Isn't it funny if you look at it that way? Okay, 1.3 million Earths fit inside the sun. I know the mind can't handle it. There are 300 billion stars in your galaxy. Your sun is one of them. It's just nothing sitting there nowheres. If it went away, a couple of planets would change their orbit. Nothing else would make any difference. So basically you get to the point where it's wonderful to be nobody. And then from around our side, where do you go to? Becoming nobody. It's wonderful to be nobody. I don't want to be nobody if I'm depressed being nobody. But if I'm in ecstasy and I'm nobody, I don't have to do anything or owe anybody anything or put on the show and make sure everything goes the way it's supposed to. Wow, that'd be kind of nice, wouldn't it? All right? And then you get to be fine and you get to serve. That's serve. When you don't need anything, you naturally serve. There's no reason not to. You do not think you're serving. That whole thing about service, no, great beings don't think they're serving. Mother Teresa did not think she was serving the lepers. She couldn't wait to go there. She loved them to pieces. You understand that? Oh, I'm serving. I'm renouncing my life for the lepers. No, there is no I like that. There's just a being who's fine interacting with reality. Okay, that's not high either. We're not high yet. Eventually, the pull becomes so strong that you can't resist. It's so strong that you start to melt back into it. It's hard, but you start to melt back into it. And where the great ones went, and that is what yoga means, union, they melted. Meher Baba said as follows, my consciousness was like a drop of water. It fell into the ocean. Find it. Take a moment, find that drop. You will never find it again. That's what the word merger means. The source of your consciousness is consciousness. All right? In the 60s, you say universal consciousness. I don't like the word at all. The ray of light that falls on this earth has a source. The sun. Every ray has the same source. Doesn't it? It's all coming off the same light. There's only one consciousness in the universe. It's staring at your thoughts, your body, your world through your eyes. The trouble is, now we'll come back down, it's really caught staring at that, isn't it? And literally, like people say, I want to go to God. No. You have to stop leaving. You're already there. Right now, at this moment, you are sitting in that state. You are that consciousness, focusing totally on your set of thoughts, your set of emotions, your body, and what's coming in through your senses. Can consciousness focus? Can you stand on a field and stare at an ant and then stop and see the whole field? That's all we're talking about. That's all we're talking about. Can you stare at one set of thoughts and emotions and views and opinions and preferences and hopes and dreams and concepts and beliefs? You got some of those? So does everybody else. So you can stare at one set and one body and one everything, or you cannot stare at one set. Period. And that's all enlightenment is you stop staring at yourself. And all of a sudden, this sense of boom. Yogananda said, there's a chapter in autobiography called My Experience in Cosmic Consciousness. The first time he entered that state, he felt that he was expanding at the speed of light in all directions across the universe. Every galaxy was in his body. That was his body. The whole thing. That's who you are. That's who you are. Everything. The one, the whole, the complete, God, call it whatever you want. Those are the great mantras in India. Aham Brahmasmi, said it with me. Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahma. Shivoham, Shivoham, I am Shiva. Hamsa, Hamsa, I am He. In other words, that's who you are, staring at that. Is that amazing? You are all galaxies, everything. You know, there's pictures that Hubble took and then James Webb took of the deep space with thousands of galaxies. Every single star in that picture is a galaxy. That picture was taken through a part of the sky that is as small as if you look through a straw 6 feet long. And that's that, and that's everywhere, and that's you. That is who you are. Oh my God. Oh my God. Right? Now, what did Christ mean? My Father and I are one. He was there. They're there, the great ones. You are no different. He said that. That which I am, as I sit by the throne of my Father, so you sit by my throne. It's a state of consciousness. As I sit by the throne of my Father, so you shall sit by my throne. And these things which I do, you should do these and even greater things. But what good is that, to know that? It's just another thing for mind to play around with. I've had people tell me, I thought I was doing well, but now I'm really depressed because I'm not enlightened. No, don't do that. All right? So now, what is the path from here to there? From being fixated on yourself to being the self, to merging back. You don't have to become anything. You're not becoming something. You're not making something of yourself. There was a great Buddhist teacher who said, the path is never about getting anything. It's always about losing everything. You see it? And so basically, what does one do once they understand? Well, you work your way back. You start from where I am. Why am I caught in being me? You are caught in being you, aren't you? Really caught. You are more addicted to being you than a heroin addict is addicted to heroin. So what does one do? You start from where you are. What does that mean? It means there are things that you cannot handle. And some of them are really small. Like the driver in front of you. He didn't use his blinker. Give me a break. It's the law. You're supposed to be in the right lane if you're going slower. Come on, I got to go somewhere. You're driving 10 miles an hour below the speed limit. Is that just me or anybody else do that? All right, there's a start. As stupid and silly as that seems, that's keeping you from God. Why? Because you're busy taking your consciousness, focusing it on a tiny little spot on this planet, and saying, I can't handle this. Well, then you probably won't handle someone dying. You probably won't handle someone saying they don't like you. And there's bigger stuff than that car. If you can't handle that it's raining out and you have to get out of the car in the rain, or that it's windy and your hair is going to get messed up, or that you went out to lunch and you dropped some ketchup on your pants or your skirt and you have to go to work. I mean, these are earth-shattering things, are they not? Your mind gives you trouble about them. You feel insecure about them. You feel uncomfortable about them. You feel tense about them. That's where your work is. You do all the asanas you want. You do all the meditation you want. If you can't do this, you're not going anywhere. I mean, you can go somewhere, but you're going to come back. Aren't you? This is the work. The work is to sit there and say, I don't have to be like that. I can handle that. I can handle some of these things. All right? How? It bothers me. It bothers me that somebody drives so slow and I'm in a rush. Okay, fine. Can we work with that? It's just like learning the piano. When you first sit down, you can't play Mozart or Beethoven. What do? You do the scales. If you practice your scales, will you get better? It doesn't mean you'll be a concert pianist, but you will get better, will you not? If you practice a sport, will you get better? Will you get better if you practice? This is exactly the same. This is the sport of self-realization. If you practice, you will get better. Don't worry, get frustrated or this kind of thing. Just work with yourself. Now, next time you're driving behind the car that's driving 10 miles below the speed limit and putting their brakes on and off and driving erratically like that, go, okay, time to go to God. Time to practice. Not get upset about it. Notice that you started to get upset and sit there, no, it's not going to help to get upset. That's so funny. The cost-benefit analysis is 100% cost, 0 benefit. What kind of business person does that? Don't tell me spirituality is not rational. It's irrational to do what you're doing. All it does is get you weird. So work with yourself. Now I said, I'll come back down. This is where the rubber hits the road. What do you mean work with yourself? Breathe. Breathe. Can you breathe evenly while the person's driving the way you don't want them to drive? Can they ram on their brakes, turn with no blinker, and you not have a word to say about it for the rest of the day? Not tell everybody, not complain. What is the purpose of doing that? You're addicted to this behavior. Change it. You change it. Don't make them change it. You change it. Be glad that they're the way they are. A coach who's teaching you tennis does not hit the ball where you're good at hitting it. They hit the ball where you're not good. Well, God's a coach. And so basically, you just relax through it. If you need to do mantra while it's happening. You know what a good mantra is? A very good Western mantra is, I can handle this, I can handle this, I can handle this. That's a wonderful mantra. Can you drive behind that car and say, I can handle this, and smile, and start to enjoy the fun of learning to use life to liberate you? Because that's what it's here for. Earth is a place that souls are sent to evolve. Do it. Evolve. Right there. And you start doing it, and you're going to find out that you can, and that it's fun, and that all of a sudden you had fun getting caught in traffic, or stopping for a train. Become like a little kid, count the cars. 1, 2, 3, 4. He said, you live in there. That's your house. How many of you live in a pig pen? I'm sorry if you do. I'm really picking on you. But I mean, literally, piece of crust all over the place and dirt and roaches. You don't live like that. You reasonably keep the house clean. That's your house. That's where you live, isn't it? Don't you live in there? Clean it up. How? By relaxing through the experiences that life presents you, that you find you used to bother yourself about it, and now you don't. That's again the line in the new book that Oprah picked out. The moment in front of you is not bothering you. You're bothering yourself about the moment in front of you. How can a moment bother you? It's just a moment on this planet in the middle of nowhere, spinning around. It's been here for 4.5 billion years. You can't handle one moment. And so you start to relax. Ultimately, what I have found is relax and release. It starts to come up. You start to get tense. Relax. Relax. Like judo. They fall past you. Martial arts teach you that. Just relax. Relax. Let it go. And you're going to find out you can do it. You can find out you can do it. You know what's going to happen? Then something a little bigger is going to happen. Somebody's not going to say hello that you kind of wanted to talk to and you don't know why. And you look at it. Do I need to make a melodrama out of this on this little planet spinning around the middle of nowheres? And all of a sudden something inside says, no, I can handle it. And you let it go. And you find out it was nothing. Who cares? You don't even, next time you see them, say, why didn't you say, no, nothing, I don't need to say anything. It doesn't matter, does it? Do these things matter enough to screw you up? Now, wait, that's why I wanted to go up first, the highest level. Do these things matter enough to keep you from that state? To keep from the greatness of your being and bringing that light that Buddha and Christ brought down to this plane? You have the right to give that gift to your children, that gift to everyone you meet. Kind of worth the work, isn't it? All right, that's yoga. That's what we've talked about this morning. All of that is yoga. And as you work your way back, then something bigger will happen. And over time you start to notice, I can handle it. Not a mantra, I can handle it. I can handle it, right? And you want to know one of the greatest moments of your life is? When terrible things happen, because they do, or challenging things happen, and you make them through them, and you make them through them, and eventually you look back and you say, I can handle anything. If I want to, if I don't resist, I can handle anything. It'll unfold, it'll do what it does, it'll handle anything. And so basically you use your life, the whole of your life, every moment, to keep letting go. You just keep letting go, keep letting go. First you let go, then you see if there's something you're supposed to be doing. First you let go. People always ask me, how do you actually do this? That's the answer. First you let go of your reaction. First you let go of your stuff. Then you look to see, is there something I'm supposed to be doing to serve the moment? That's the highest life you can live, isn't it? You're not living for yourself. You haven't renounced yourself. There's no renunciation. There's just letting go of this noise. Is there noise in there? Answer me. Is there noise in there? Are you all so high there's no noise in there? All right. You want the noise. It's what stands between you and God. You want it. You don't not want it. You don't think you're not supposed to have it. It's like you're running a hurdle race. Every one of those hurdles is your best friend, because that's what you need to go over to get to the end. You want the noise, you want the trouble, you want whatever it is, so that you can practice letting go, and you will ascend. If you do that every moment of your life, you will ascend at a very, very rapid rate. All right? Thank you. Work on yourself. Jai Gurudev.